We are in the concurrency unit of our syllabus, that is the last unit as far as the number is concerned. It's a 12th unit in your syllabus. So concurrency, and actually it means how to achieve multi-threading in Java, right? So that is what we are supposed to learn. One more thing I want to add it here, that the portion which is given in your syllabus is very less as far as multi-threading is concerned. Whatever we'll be understanding in multi-threading will be very introductory part. Still there are so many concepts associated with multi-threading, but we will not cover due to time constraint. But if you want to learn more about multi-threading, you can always learn. Don't just think that the things which we are discussing right now or during the semester, that's what all Java, right? Java is lot many things more than this. But yes, for the introductory purpose, this is okay. Now, can anyone just help me out in writing some points which were discussed last time? We started with multi-threading. I want to hear few points from you all. Anyone? Just confirming, is my screen visible and am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So just add some points regarding to concurrency or multi-threading which we discussed last time. Thread is done in two ways. Okay, Vinayak, we can create threads in two ways. Correct. Then, okay, we can create threads, right, in a way that I can understand. I don't have to manipulate it. Right? You can unmute yourself and discuss, or write the statement such that it is self-explanatory. Right? Anything else you want to add it? What is the purpose of creating thread? Which is the package which is giving the facility for, yeah, why do we need threads? That correct, but what are the, why do we need thread? Why we need thread? Why we need thread? Yes, so thread class and runnable interface. Okay, so these are the two ways through which we can create threads. Okay, fine, let us discuss it a little bit about threads. So concurrency can be achieved with the help of threads. Concurrency is nothing but utilizing your system resources in a way that ultimately the response time is less, right? The user does not have to wait for long to process the request, and how it can be achieved when you run the task in concurrency, when you run the task parallelly, utilizing all the system resources and mostly your CPU. So we started with what is a thread. What is a thread? So thread is a lightweight sub process. It's a lightweight process. It's a lightweight process, or you can say smallest undivisible unit of a process. So that is why we need threads to reduce response time and utilize system resource to its maximum. Right. So there are few things which I'm just briefing. I'm just writing the main points here as of for a revision. Then how to create a thread. So as you all have rightly mentioned that we have two ways to create the thread. One with the help of class, that is thread class. So we have to extend this thread class, and second is through interface, that is implementing runnable interface. So these are the two ways. These both are these both interface as well as class is there inside java.lang package. So we need not to import any extra package to have multi-threading in our program, right? So anything else remaining? Anything else remaining? Thread can be used to perform complicated tasks in background without interrupting the main program. Okay, okay, Milan, but this is a different kind of a thread called a daemon thread, and we are not right now discussing what is a daemon thread. But yes, I appreciate that you actually remember the importance of a thread. So thread can also be created to run in background, which can constantly work according to their work according to the requirement, and they can fulfill the user needs very quickly. But we have, okay, yes, so that is what the purpose of creating different kinds of a threads. As you all know that we have different kinds of a thread. Like we have the normal threads, we have automatic created. This your main is your automatic thread created. Then we have a daemon thread. So we have user defined threads. So based on the different scenario, we use different threads. And one more thing, Java, when someone says, well, is Java multi-threaded programming language, you should say yes. Java is multi-threaded programming language. And how many minimum number of threads will be there in a Java program? Can anyone say this? How many minimum number of threads will be there available with Java program? Yes, which is the name of that thread? Which is exactly, so at least there will be one thread running in Java program, that is your main thread. Yes, over and above there will be few threads like garbage collector, and these all are daemon threads. But as of user perspective, there will be minimum one number of thread which will be there, and this thread is automatically created by JVM, that is your main thread. Another thing you have to remember that you can create n number of threads in a Java program. There is no limit of creating the threads. Now we have seen that, let us proceed now. We have seen that if we are using the extend way of creating thread, then you have some steps to follow. And if you use in runnable interface to create your threads, then you have few more steps to follow. And yes, one more thing I forgot, that we have discussed that why Java provides two different ways to create a thread. Why Java provides two different ways to create thread. I've told you that I'll be asking this question, and this is one of the interview question and Viva question. Why Java provides two ways to create a thread? We have discussed. I do remember that. To have multiple threading. Read it again, Vicky. To have multiple threading. Java provides two different ways to create a thread to achieve multiple inheritance. Because if you use the extend thread class way of creating a thread, then you cannot extend any other class because of the limitation that Java does not allow you to extend more than one class at a time. So yes, correct. Yes. So exactly, Umang. So that is why Java also gives you that if you want to extend some another class, and still if you want to create your own thread, then you can use implements runnable interface. In that way also you can make your class work as a thread, and then you can extend other class of your choice. So that is what the reason why Java provides two different ways to create threads. Now let me go to my NetBeans and show you how to create a basic thread. If time permits, we'll be creating different scenarios for thread, but let me show you the two basic ways to create a thread. Now you have to be very sure, you have to understand that when I want, see, in Java everything is a class, right? Everything is a class. So if I want my class to work as a thread, if I want my class to work as a thread, then I have two ways. Either I should extend the thread or I should implement runnable interface. Let's use the first method, which is easier one. So and one more thing, which method is to be uh, which two methods we have seen for with respect to thread? Anyone remembers that? Yes, one was start. That start and run, exactly. Start is used to start the thread. Start doesn't mean your thread is actually in the processor and executing itself. No, start means your thread is ready and it is there in the ready queue and it is waiting for its turn for the processor. And run is the method which is actually will be called automatically when the thread will be allocated the processor. We are not supposed to call the thread method a run method, it will be automatically called. And start method we need to call explicitly. Let me show you how. Now let's say I'm having a class called mythread1 or mythread. Now I'm using the first method for that, so I'm extending extends thread class. That's it. Now what happened, my class thread is a thread now, can work as a thread. The object of this class can work as a thread, right? Now what I'm doing, I'm writing a simple simple method. So you can see here that when I automatically, also you will be getting which method I have to override. I have to override the run method. So I'll be using override run and generate. You can say the override method is already there. If you are not remembering this, just do this: public void run. That's it. And see, this is a overriding. This is overriding of a method. So you are not supposed to change the signature of this method. You have to keep the run method as it is, right? You cannot, if you are changing the signature, say suppose if you are providing some parameter here like this, then this run method is not that threads run method, right? So now this is a normal run method which you are just using as your different other methods. It is not the method which is of class thread. And if you want to have to work, if you want your class to be working as a thread, you have to use the same method run. You cannot change this. That's fine. Let us have a simple message here: system dot out dot println my thread is running. Right, my thread is running. Simple. Now this is actually a thread class, right? Now I need a driver class which will be creating the object of the thread class. So let's say I'm having a thread demo. This is my driver class which will be having my public static void main. Now what I have to do, is to make this working, first of all I need to create the object of this class. So what I'll be doing, I'll be creating my thread m1 is equal to new my thread. That's it. So I have created object. Let's say I'm having one more system.out.println. Let's say you are giving a message main thread is running, right? Let us execute it. So what is the problem, guys? I am only getting main thread is running. I am not getting the my thread output. Why? Anybody can help me out in this?
Ma'am,
Yes.
M1
Yes.
dot start.
Very good. Now, when you create the object of the thread class, that doesn't mean your thread is started or it is running. This is actually, if you compare it with the life cycle, it's a newborn thread. It's a newborn thread. So if we look at the life cycle, it is new. Right now, it is new thread. It has not started. It is just created for its execution. Unless and until you don't start, it cannot go inside the ready queue, and one if it is not there in the ready queue, it cannot be allocated processor, because we know that every process or thread which is waiting has to be there in the ready queue, right? So right now your thread is in a newborn state. To make to make that runnable, or to make it available with the ready queue, I have to write m1 dot. It will be giving you the suggestion as well, m1 dot start. As soon as I start the thread, at this particular point of time, it may happen. See, right now our program is very small and we have single thread in the application, but it may happen that there are hundreds of threads which are running parallelly. Now, as soon as you start, that doesn't mean your thread will get the processor at that particular moment only. Whenever you say thread dot start, it will go inside ready queue, and it will be waiting for its turn. Right? It will wait for its turn to allocate processor. Now, when I run the file, you can see, first of all, we have to start with main. So main thread is running, and then I have started my thread. It gets the chance to have processor, and it is giving you my thread is running. Am I clear? This is how you can create the thread. So we haven't called the run method. You must have observed this. We have not called the run method at all, but still your run method was automatically called whenever this thread m1 got its chance inside the processor. Is it clear, everyone? Let me show you the next way of creating the same program. What I'll be doing, see, the output will not change. The only how you create the thread, that is going to change. So let's say I'm having implements runnable. When I say implements runnable, this particular class can be a thread, can work as a thread, but it is not a thread right now. Right? So what I have to do, I have to give the object of my class to which class to make it a thread? Anyone? I have to give the object of my class to whom, so that it can work as a thread? No idea? I have to that t1 is equal to new thread, and I'll be providing my object here m1. Now my m1 is a thread, and now I will operate with the help of t1. So this is the additional step you are supposed to follow in case newborn can work as a thread but not a thread, right? Here in this case, converting your runnable class into thread class. Now as soon as you convert it to thread class, that's perfectly fine, and just start it. Let's run it and observe the output. Again, the output will remain the same because we have not changed anything. Only thing we have changed is how to create a thread. Got it, everyone? See, you got the thread way of creating thread, guys? See, see, Vicky, the thing will be, see, this is very introductory thing. Let's say I have 5 tasks to perform. Let's say uh, I am first answering the question of Vicky, then I'll be coming back to other questions. How it can reduce the time, right? Now imagine one application which is of, say, calculator. Okay? Now that calculator application, what we are doing is we are accepting two numbers from the user, right? Any two numbers. Now what I want to perform addition, division, multiplication and subtraction on those two numbers. Now imagine you are not having a thread and you are sequentially executing. So what will happen if you have returned the first call as add method, then subtract method, then multiply method, then division method, right? So one by one, every method is going to be executed, and let's say after 2 seconds, you are getting the output of each and every operation. Am I clear? But do you think, see, when I have two numbers with me and do this addition, subtraction, multiplication, division is dependent on one another or not? In this scenario, is my division, multiplication, addition and subtraction, are they dependent on one another? No. Why yes? Why yes? When I have two numbers, I'm adding the two number, I am dividing the two number, I am multiplying the two number, I am subtracting the two number. Are they dependent on each other? डिपेंडेंट क्या कब बोल सकते हो आप? डिपेंडेंट कब बोल सकते हो? मान लो अगर आपका एक्सप्रेशन ऐसा कुछ है, मान लो आपका अगर एक्सप्रेशन ऐसा कुछ है, 3 into 4 plus 5 divided by 7 minus 3 something. ये सिनारियो हम हो, ये सिनारियो अगर है something like this, then we can say actually it is dependent, because first you have to perform one operation, then you have to perform based on the answer, you have to go for the second operation. Are you getting, guys? Are you getting, Vicky especially? If you are having this kind of thing, then it is called dependent. But when I have two numbers, let's say 10 and 20, 10 and 20, and I want to perform all operations, all operation, addition, division, multiplication and subtraction, is now, are they dependent on each other or not? Can I perform addition of two numbers and subtraction of two numbers parallelly? Are you getting? Right. So when your scenarios are such, then when you want to perform tasks which are not dependent on each other, then you can always go for multi-threading approach. Now मान लो कि एक ऑपरेशन करने में 1 सेकेंड लगती है, ठीक है, एडिशन, मल्टीप्लिकेशन, डिविजन, सब्ट्रैक्शन 1 सेकेंड लगती है, तो अगर मैं सीक्वेंस चालू करूंगी तो मुझे 4 सेकेंड लगेगी, क्योंकि एक के बाद एक फंक्शन कॉल होगा. आफ्टर 4 seconds आई विल बी गेटिंग द आउटपुट ऑफ ऑल 4. But if there is no dependency between the task, then and every thread is performing one operation, एक thread addition करेगा, एक thread multiplication करेगा, एक thread division करेगा और एक thread subtraction करेगा. अगर चारों thread मैंने parallelly run करवा दिए, तो it is possible that I will be, yes, there are so many scenarios, because इसमें शेड्यूलिंग एल्गोरिथम का पिक्चर है, ऑन गोइंग कितने टास्क होते हैं वो सब पिक्चर है, लेकिन देर इज अ चांस दैट आई विल बी गेटिंग द आंसर ऑफ ऑल दीज ऑपरेशंस क्विकली. फाइन, राइट. सो एट दैट दिस इज हाउ योर थ्रेड्स कैन रिड्यूस टाइम. मुझे पता ही है कि ये दोनों टास्क कभी भी डिपेंडेंट होने ही नहीं वाले हैं. why to wait for one task to complete and then start? Can't I start parallelly both the class? Yes, when it is dependent, you should have the sequential approach. But okay, so Vicky's answer is the now Umang, what you are not getting, and Bajrang, what you are not getting exactly. Do you got the first way of creating threads, both of you? Bajrang and Umang. Yeah. So is there any problem with the second approach of creating thread? can unmute and answer properly, because I'm not getting by only yes and no's. Please elaborate your question so that I can answer it properly. Okay, and what about Umang? Second method is, you are also not getting the second method, right? Yes. So what we did, we second
Yes,
method
ma'am.
said
How to create two objects in runnable?
how to create.
How to create, ma'am, a thread object?
Okay. See, second method says that if I want to create a thread, I have to implement the runnable method. And in both the cases, this run method has to be overridden. So that's fine. Now, in first method, what we did, we just created my thread m1, new my thread, and we started the thread, because your my thread was actually the subclass of thread, and hence it has all the properties of a thread. So actually your my thread was a thread at that time. Fine. Now in the second approach, when you say that my thread is implementing the runnable, that means your my thread class can work as a thread. But at this point of time, when it is implementing the runnable, it is not a thread. It is saying that it can work as a thread. Now, so when you create the object of your class, what you say, it can work as a thread but not a thread. Why? Because it is implementing runnable interface. It does not have any property of a thread yet, right? So to give the properties of thread to my class, what I am doing, there is a way that you can directly use the thread class of your lang package, and as the parameter pass your object. What is your object? M1. So my class, which was not a thread but can work as a thread, now I am passing it to thread class. That means I am converting my runnable class into a thread class. Is it clear? And once it is a thread, I can do every operation which I was doing with the normal thread class. Is it okay? The only thing you have to remember, that when you are using implements runnable, your class is not a thread yet. It can work as a thread. To make it a thread, actually, you have to pass the parameter as your class reference, so that your class can be converted into a thread. I hope it is clear, Bajrang and Umang. Bajrang?
Yes, ma'am.
Bajrang? Okay, fine. So, any questions so far, others? I am happy that you all are involved here in this time also, and you are asking the question. That's good. So this is what all about thread, creating threads. Don't forget that uh, you are supposed to remember this life cycle. There are many diagrams related to the life cycle. You can use any, but major state should be covered: new, runnable, terminated, waiting. So these are the uh, major states should be there in your thread state diagram or thread life cycle. Now let me go back to the program. Let's say what I'm having. Let me create one string s1. Let me create here, and let me create one constructor here. I'm having parameterized constructor. Now what I'm doing is I'm passing first thread, simple first thread, and right. So inside run method, what I want to do is, say I want to execute this thread, that is first thread, five times. So what I have to do, I have to, if I want to execute it, the best way is loop integer I is equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus. That's it. So my thread is running with parameter S1. ठीक है, अभी S1 कहाँ से मिलेगा? यहाँ से जो हमने पास किया है वो. तो ये एक थ्रेड हुआ, राइट? अभी ये बताओ मुझे, लॉजिकली सोचो कि ये क्लास के मैं कितने, ये क्लास है मेरा थ्रेड, उसके मैं कितने ऑब्जेक्ट बना सकती हूँ? हाउ मेनी ऑब्जेक्ट्स आई कैन क्रिएट? I want the same operation but with different parameters. So how many objects I can create of the same class? I hope I'm audible, guys, and the question is not that much weird. How many objects I can create for a class? I think you are not, yeah, too many. I can create infinite. So what I'm doing is, uh, this is my first thread, right? Now same, I'm creating another thread here. My thread m2 is equal to new my thread, and the parameter I'm passing is second thread. That's it. Still it is not a thread because it is implementing the runnable interface. So again I have to do thread t2 is equal to new thread m2, and that's fine. So what I'll be writing, I have both the threads ready. So I'll be starting t1 dot start and I'll be writing t2 dot start. Done. So I have started both the threads. I have started both the threads. Now what will happen when I create my first thread? The S1 will be having first thread as an argument and it will be printing first thread. And second thread will be when I create a second thread, the S1 will be having, the second object will be having parameter as S second thread, and that will be printed, right? And I have started both the thread. Let's see how it is working. See, I have started the, see, one very important thing I want to make you understand. I have started my first thread first, t1 dot start and t2 dot start, but still I am getting output as second thread first and first thread first. Let me rerun it again. Can you see? I have just rerun it again. My output changes. Why so? Can anyone tell me why so? Let me run it again. Now see, altogether different output. Altogether different output. Just think for 30 seconds. Can you imagine why you are getting the unpredictable output every time? See, you can say every time you are executing, you are getting different output. Anyone want to try? I'm not expecting the correct answer from you because I have not taught you, but you all are knowing process. That's why I am expecting little bit idea about why it is happening. So no one? See, your threads, what we told, that when you are creating a thread and you are starting a thread, the thread goes into the ready queue. Now when it is in the ready queue, it is up to your operating system, and in our case it is up to our JVM and operating system both to select the particular thread based on the scheduling algorithm, right? So every time it may happen that your operating system and your JVM is selecting different threads based on the other processes which are there in your ready queue, and we never know your operating system will select which one, right? That's why you may get but yes, there is a solution to get the output which we want. We can have little bit control over this, little bit, not entire control, because see, when you are dealing with a process and a thread, you're actually working with the operating system levels, right? You are actually challenging the scheduling algorithm. So it is not always necessary that you can get the same output which you have desired, but yes, you can control a little bit for this. So every time we run, we may get different output, even though we have done in our as per our logic, we might not get the output. Got, guys? Got it or not? Right. So this you have to remember. So even if when you are creating your thread program, and this is applicable to thread class as well as runnable, see, जो भी हम आउटपुट देखेंगे वो दोनों में सेम ही मिलेगा. अब थ्रेड क्लास करो या रनेबल करो, आउटपुट दोनों में सेम मिलेगा, क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली बोथ विल बी थ्रेड एट द एंड, राइट. ये दो चेंज क्यों है? सिर्फ क्रिएट करने की मेथड में चेंजेस है. Once it is created, then all the things which is applicable with a normal thread and a thread which is created by a runnable, both will be treated same. ठीक है? Yes, it depends on the scheduling algorithm. It depends on the different processes which are right now there in the ready queue of your operating system. So there are many factors. Your it may happen that when you are creating an application, when your application is actually executing, the high priority process may come in between, and your program has to interrupt. Your process has to interrupt. So there are so many factors which will be affected, which will be coming into the picture while selecting a particular thread. Your job is just to start the thread, and that's it. Then it will be the work of operating system and your JVM to particularly pick the thread and work on it. It may happen, see, right now what is the output? That first thread has been picked up, the thread has been entirely completed, ये loop पूरी खत्म हुई, ये पूरी loop खत्म हुई, 5 बार print हो गया. Then it is taking second thread and again वो 5 बार किया, right? Next time मैं run कर रही हूँ तो again वो हो रहा है. इस बार में रन करी, उसने क्या पिक करा? दोनों रेडी क्यू में थे, उसने सेकेंड को पिक करा, 5 बार एग्जीक्यूट किया, फर्स्ट को पिक करा, 5 बार एग्जीक्यूट किया. नाउ देखो, वापस मैंने रन किया तो क्या हुआ? उसने फर्स्ट को पिक किया, एक बार रन किया, फिर उसने उसको हम प्रीएम्प्टिव बोलते हैं. व्हाट इज प्रीएम्प्टिव? हैव यू हर्ड प्रीएम्प्टिव? Yeah, preemptive means forcefully it is going to take that processor from the task and it will allocate to some another process. तो उसने फोर्सफुली ले लिया, किसको दे दिया? सेकेंड थ्रेड को दे दिया, वापस उसके पास से ले लिया, फर्स्ट को दे दिया. So every time it may vary based on the current situation of your ready queue and different parameters. ठीक है? All okay, guys? So yes, as I mentioned that yes, we have little bit control over this execution, but ultimate control lies with your scheduling algorithm, your operating system, and your JVM, of course. So this is what all about creating a thread and executing the thread. Let me show you one more thing. I have some programs ready with me so that we can discuss more. Yeah, let me do one thing. ये क्या हो रहा है? जैसे ही हम रन कर रहे हैं, पूरा एक साथ आ जा रहा है, राइट? लेट अस सी हाउ वी आई वांट टू हैव अ गैप बिटवीन द टू, राइट? तो मैंने दोनों स्टार्ट तो कर दिए थ्रेड. तो अभी क्या करेंगे? अभी रन में हम जाएंगे. ये प्रिंट करने से पहले लेट्स डू वन थिंग. Now let us see how. First of all, ये सब पूरा इतना बड़ा नहीं लिखना, ठीक है? पहले इजी से पहले समझते हैं, पहले आउटपुट देखते हैं, फिर समझते मैंने क्या किया. We run it. let me increase the time so that you can very well notice the can you see this? After it is taking a little bit gap. This is in a millisecond. So it is taking a gap. After printing something, it is taking a gap. Right? So why it is so? We are making our thread sleep for some time. We are making our thread sleep for some time before going to the next iteration. फाइन. अगर आपको एक में ही समझना है तो ये मैं कमेंट कर देती हूँ. See, it is taking some time and after it is sleeping for some time. What is that? It is sleeping for some time. What is that time? This is in a millisecond. So it is sleeping for some second and then again it is leaving the processor for this much amount of time, sleeping it, and it is then coming back, again going inside the ready queue for its turn, and then it is coming back. राइट. सो क्या करा, पहली बार वो प्रोसेसर में गया, उसने थोड़ी देर काम किया, फिर वापस उसने क्या किया, ये प्रिंट करने के बाद वो सो गया. The thread is going to sleep for these many milliseconds. After this, again it will be going to ready queue. आपको ये याद रखना पड़ेगा यहाँ पे कि मान लो अगर वेटिंग कर रहा है, थ्रेड स्लीप में गया है, यहाँ पे हमने स्लीप में करा ना, ये रनेबल मतलब प्रोसेसर में है, फिर जब थ्रेड जब स्लीप करेगा तो वो टाइम्ड वेटिंग में चला जाएगा, प्री डिफाइंड अमाउंट ऑफ टाइम इट इज स्लीपिंग, then again it is when the interval expire, again it is going to come back in the runnable state. Means again it is going inside the ready queue. डायरेक्टली वो वेटिंग में से प्रोसेसर में नहीं चला जाएगा, प्रोसेसर में सिर्फ एक ही जगह से आ सकता है, दैट इज फ्रॉम रेडी क्यू. After sleeping, again it wants its turn back, then again it has to go inside the ready queue and then it can come back to the processor. I hope it is clear. The same thing applies to the process also. When the process is in blocked state, when the process is in waiting state or sleep state, after sleeping or after that interval, process cannot go directly inside the processor. Again, it has to insert itself into the ready queue and then it can come back to the processor. I hope you know this, guys. Try I have used because when the thread is actually sleeping, it may happen that some other thread or some other process may come and awake that thread, may come and interrupt the thread, may come and tell the thread that yes, wake up, right? So your sleep function of your thread class is throwing an interrupted exception, which is a checked exception. And as it is a checked exception, we are supposed to inform the compiler that if I am sleeping for this much amount of time, and if some other thread is interrupting me, then you can awake me out. Are you getting? You can awake me. Fine. So that's why it is sleep. So whenever you are using a sleep method with the thread, your sleep method may generate interrupted exception, which is a checked one. Hence, we are supposed to inform the compiler either through throws or through try catch. That's up to you which method you are using. Okay. Now I want to add one last very important point for you for today's session. चलो मुझे 4 टास्क करने हैं. You have to answer me very very quickly. I want to perform 4 different tasks. Let's say addition, multiplication, division and subtraction. Same our classic example. I want to perform these 4 tasks. So is sleep method always used? Yes, it cannot use. Either you have to inform about the interrupted exception, that is checked exception, through throws clause, or you have to use try catch. That's what I told Bajrang, that sleep is always, it is a Sleep method may generate interrupted exception, which is a checked one. So you are supposed to inform either by try catch or by throws clause. Clear? Now, give me the answer. Think properly and then give me the answer. I want to perform 4 different tasks. Let's say addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. Right? And these tasks I want to perform parallelly because these are not dependent on each other. Now tell me how many threads I need to create. To perform this 4 operations, how many threads I need to create? Okay, why 4, Jai? Why 4? The reason behind the 4 is, say, whatever thread is going to be performed, the task of a thread is always there within run method, correct? Now, can we have more than one run method in the same class? Can we have the same type of method in the same class? No. That means if one run method is actually executing addition, I need another run method to do subtraction. But I cannot put the second run method inside the same class because the signature will be same, and which is not allowed. One class cannot have two methods with the same signature, right? That's why I need 4 individual classes to perform 4 different tasks, and every class will be overriding the run method, and one run method can perform one task only. And mind well guys, when you are using a thread, don't overload the thread by so many functionalities inside a thread. Thread is actually the smallest unit of a program, of a process, right? So your one thread should do one process, one task only. Let's say of addition, वो एडिशन ही करेगा उसको, फिर सी एक लॉजिकली प्रोग्रामेटिकली हम रन में सब्ट्रैक्ट भी करवा सकते हैं, मल्टीप्लाई भी करवा सकते हैं, डिवीजन भी करवा सकते हैं. देयर विल बी नो एरर एंड वी विल बी गेटिंग द आउटपुट एज वेल, right? But logically this is not actually the purpose of a thread. A purpose of a thread is, a thread will be created to execute one small task. I hope I'm clear, everyone. I hope I'm very much clear that when you want to have a different task which you want to perform, you should have a different classes for those tasks, and every task should be written inside a run method. Then and then only it will be considered as a thread task. Okay? Yeah. So this is what all about the thread, and still there are few things which is left, but anyways we'll not be able to complete it today. And two important concept is left for from this unit, and then the unit is going to be over. So most probably I'm going to complete the theoretical part of this in the next session, right? So that from the next week I can start with the next IO, that is file handling in Java. Right. But if you have any query, any doubt, I know, and I know, I don't mind in discussing one more time. Fine. So just think for a while. If you have any query, let me know. Just a second. Yes. Let me take your attendance. Guys, one more thing I want to say you is your midsem. Unfortunately, your midsem was not conducted due to the uh, pandemic and everything. So please don't neglect this. You have to work at your pace. Otherwise, entire subject, if you do at the end for the final exam, it will be very, very difficult. So regularly, please read and learn. And wherever you have a query, note it down and you can ask the faculty. Right, today is 8th of February. Sorry, 8th of April, right? Right. Zaki Ahmad, Sachin Chinmay Dhairya, attend your roll calls. Milan, please don't interrupt me in between, guys. Milan, Hitesh, Hina, Chirag. Vensi, Kamalraj, Astha, Shelvi. Jaykishan, Hiren, Naresh, Munaf. Yatish, Mohib Hussain. Krish, Mishi. Okay. Kushal, Umang, Parth, Karthik. Deep, Urvisha, Mihir, Nirali. Sharad, Rahul, Shreya, Krishna, Milan. Sunil, Harsh, Yash, Diksha. Zenith, Varun, Stuti. Harshil, Dev, Yash, Kinjal. Om, Akshay. Dev, Yash, Kinjal. Okay. Jai, Manan, Bhagyesh, Bhargav. Sahista, Aryan, Amit, Ruma. Bajrang, Sonu, Aman, Rajiv. Akhilesh, Ankit, Kashish, Rahul. Umang, Mananjay, Sonu, Divyanshu. Bhumika, Chandan, Gagan, Vinay. Abhiraj, Shravan, Rinku, Roshan. Ashish, Priyanka, Vicky, Manish. Alsef, Brajesh, Rohini, Akash, Ravi.
Present, ma'am. Ravi.
Okay. Okay, anybody left? Thank you everyone for joining. Wish you a very happy day. Take care and bye for now.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, I have some question related to DE project.
DE project.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
right now you have the lecture, so you join it. Next time, next Thursday we are having lecture, right? So tomorrow you can ask.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Fine. Thank you everyone. Bye for now. Take care.